You know, I've been wanting to start opening my videos with a more clear goal. Trouble is, this is the only game I've seen where the main objective is to not die.
Deserve to die!
Optional. This is Clive Rothschild, our resident main character and mental case. Right now, he's training to become a Shield of Rosaria, so that he could end slavery and save the world. There's just two minor problems with that. For one, every soldier, monarch, and overgrown lizard seems pretty cool with slavery, actually. And for two, I can't see someone with a name as dumb as Clive ever doing anything meaningful with their life. If your name is Clive, you should feel personally insulted by that. If it isn't, you should like the video. So what is it about this Clive that makes him so special? Well, like all anime characters with big swords and about half my friends, he has mommy issues. You see, Clive is royalty, the son of I forgot the name. There's like 5 kingdoms in this game, don't bully me. He has a bit of an inferiority complex because he wasn't born with the magical superpowers that passed down through his bloodline. Instead, it was his brother who has the power to become a funny bird. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. To prove ourselves worthy of being a knight, we have to actually beat the tutorial. It starts off basic. 4 sword attacks, 4 magic attacks, trying to dodge for 15 minutes before getting mad at the game and beating the NPC to death. I'm not gonna go super into depth into the combat mechanics, but let me just say this game has some of the most fluid and beautiful gameplay I have ever seen. Everything is a combo. You have classics like flame shift into charge shot into aerial jump into magic burst, and if that doesn't work, you always have old reliables to fall back on like fireball, 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 dodge, fireball, fireball. After giving our instructor some third-degree burns, he finally says we're ready to become an official shield if we can meet the main party at a distant fort. Yippee! I steal some potions to prepare, but before I leave, the game decides to jump scare me with cutscene after cutscene. First we meet our dad. He's actually really cool. Then we meet our mom. She's, not cool. But I don't really care about her opinion because she can't even vote anyway. Am I right, boys?
The American people are tired of women.
We have a cool scene where we meet a slave. As I'm writing the script, I just realized this game is going to single-handedly tank my chances of getting a job because when someone looks up my name, the first thing will probably be a clip of me saying, "Yay, slavery!" Don't feel too bad for him, though, because canonically this kingdom treats their slaves the best out of every other kingdom in the world. What's that? The slaves want human rights. Don't care. They can't even vote. Finally, we meet with our puppy, Torgal. When I say I got that dog in me, this is what I'm referring to. Well, him and the funny dog with the hat that spins. I actually don't know what the hat is called, but I desperately want to buy one, so if you know, please tell me. After all that, we are finally ready to set out for the fort. But there's a problem. A nearby town has been invaded by the most attractive men under 6'1", and the only one who can exterminate them is me. And these two guys. From the start, I knew this would be a test of patience, timing, and sanity, as I somehow got lost on a road with only one path for much longer than I would like to admit. Eventually, I stumbled upon the goblin stealing something from an abandoned cart because apparently you can't have shit in Windshire. A fight broke out, and this is by far the most fun and painful part of the game. By pressing X and then following it up with a quick Y press, you can do a magic burst combo for a chain of up to 8 times. It increases your damage by like 5% at most, but because I'm a perfectionist, I need to do it every time. I can assure you, even if it doesn't look like it, I am rolling my thumb over the controller every 5 seconds until I bleed. I'm just really bad at the timing. Further evidence that the pain of being a gamer is worse than that of childbirth. I was sloppy and took a few back shots, but it was worth it for the 2 coins. We find another goblin encampment, except this time they have a mage. My partner said I should take it out first, but I haven't learned how to change lock-on targets after beating this game twice already, so I don't feel like learning now. We get ambushed, and I'm starting to get bored, so I bust out all of my combos. Everything was going fine until the first boss showed up. I was low on potions, and he was strong. I knew I had to finish this quick, so I got into my gamer position before unleashing my ultimate technique. Fireball, fireball, fireball. I finish him off in style, and Boogie2988 here goes down harder than his reputation after we found out he was dating an 18-year-old girl. The leader of the goblins tries to run, but he fails to understand that I could just, follow him. Before I could put the little guy in a jar, he gets eaten by an overgrown weed, and the real first fight starts. It can be deceptively difficult if you don't know how to dodge, but an expert like me is fine. The most notable thing about this fight is it introduces my favorite part of the game, cinematic attacks. During certain points of special boss fights, there are undodgeable attacks where if you press the timing of the button at the right time, you gain an advantage. These are really cool, but there's almost no chance of you missing the prompt since it lasts for so long. That's why I like edging the game by waiting until the last second. I tried to get a cinematic kill, but instead the boss was left at 1 HP, so I kind of just ran around waiting for my abilities to recharge. I was actually fumbling so hard at not getting hit that I just had to switch into my ultimate gaming position. It was so worth it. We make it to the fort and our dad tasks us with one goal, to protect our brother Joshua. We talk for a bit when I notice a fatal flaw with both the storytelling and my logic. I was just gonna ignore the dad because he couldn't vote, but he's the king. How am I supposed to know who I should listen to if no one can vote? Anyway, they debate the ethics of child labor before nightfall. Joshua is woken up in bed to the sounds of random dudes entering his mom's room, something he's very familiar with. Only this time they aren't here for her ass, but his. The castle is burning and actively crumbling to the ground as invaders kill everyone inside. A soldier tries to help me escape, but even as Joshua, I still feel the need to kill every enemy for the sake of my glorious 1 coin. We meet up with Clive and remember that we were tasked with protecting Joshua. Anyway, we decide to leave Joshua. The basic enemies were easy to kill, but then came the boss. The great Dragoon? The Wings of Fire looking ass dude. Honestly, I don't have much to say about him. He has a small combo that occasionally caught me off guard, and his jump attack was a little wild, but it's not like he could do it twice. Oh my god. Joshua gets trapped in his fursuit and starts to destroy everything. We're about to die when Clive's schizophrenia kicks in, and out of nowhere, a much cooler fire demon shows up. I wonder who this mysterious character could be. Joshua, being a dumbass child, decides he should kill this mysterious demon, leading into the start of the game. Yup. This was all a flashback to the start of the game, which you're seeing now. The game opens with us playing as Joshua. I'd like to say I controlled the Phoenix, but apparently I could only be trusted with 2 buttons, attack and dodge. I mean, seriously, I know this is another tutorial, but I think the game would have a little bit more faith in me than... Okay. To be clear, the opening is actually really well made. I just let myself get hit as a joke because I thought that. Yeah, so Joshua dies, and guess what? I tricked you. This was all a flashback too. The entire game is a flashback, apparently. The real story starts now. Clive survived and was taken as a slave to fight in the army for 13 years. Our mission is to watch the least intense Digimon fight and then kill their owners, but to understand that, we have to understand the wacky world of politics, baby. I am begging you to buckle in for this part because the lore is incredibly complicated and I need that audience retention, so here we go. This is a map of the world. What I'm going to highlight in red is the bad guy. Okay, please just pretend I spent 10 minutes explaining the most complex lore you've ever heard by praising me in the comments, because there are like 5 different kingdoms in this game, with multiple changes in leadership over that time, over multiple time skips, with multiple different variants of politics, and I am not ready to go into all of that, so just like read the wiki or something, I don't know. Clive wants to die, but he refuses to, because he wants to find his brother's killer. And that means spending 13 years fighting for the army of the group that nearly killed your family. The girl we're trying to kill throws some ice cubes, which leads me to believe she's never played Pokémon before, and I kill her fairly easily. Never mind, turns out she's alive, and Clive recognizes her. He has a flashback to the time she gave him a funny-looking cat and regains his motivation to fight, if only to tap that. The other slave didn't like that very much, because he evolved past the need for women like a true alpha male. We dueled to the death for my lady's honor, and I have to say it was intense. He could swing his sword and swing it faster. At first I thought I could easily close out a win by using my patented fireball technique, but he countered it with his own water ball. What is this Terraria? Luckily, I've never been much of a fan of Pokemon, so I kill him fairly easily. Now with the first glimmer of hope for our future, we pick her up. Pick her up? Are we trying to die or not? A mysterious magical being comes to save us. It's Torgal! Oh, never mind. It's a white guy! This is Sid, the ex-slave magic eco-terrorist and the man of my dreams. Why, you ask? He created an underground society freed of slaves with the express goal of establishing equality. And why is equality so important, you ask? That's right, because people can actually vote now. We did it, guys. Congratulations. Finally, I can care about the story again. Sid agrees to help Clive hunt down the monster that killed his brother, so long as Clive helps Sid win back his bird ex-girlfriend. Before that, though, I engage in some highly interesting side quests, like bring food from point A to B and walk from one end of the hallway to the other. I got a bug for this. Turns out Sid's ex is sleeping with literally every creature known to man, and is also very pro-murder, specifically the murder of me and Sid. The trouble is, the best she could do is throw a blind homeless woman at me, then 2 blind homeless women. She tries to kill Sid by throwing him against a wall, and then I nearly kill Sid trying to talk to him. We meet Garuda on the roof, and thus we begin the 5th first boss fight of this game. This fight is wild. There are like 4 distinct phases, with each one building off the last. In the first, she spams magic attacks from a distance, and it can be difficult to close the gap, but I've trained for this with a new technique I've kept up my sleeve. Lunge attack, lunge attack, lunge attack. She grows wings and catches Clive off guard, nearly killing us before Torgal clutches up. This phase is similar to the first, except she flies, jumps super high, has crazy AoE claws attacks, which is to say it's nothing like the first phase. She has an insane amount of health on top of being able to summon tornadoes and throw buildings at me now. On top of not being able to use Torgal, which seems incredibly unfair, and then she just throws me into the ground, which just straight up is unfair. But I have something she can never compete with. Dog attack. Seriously though, if I was ever in a fight and someone brought along a dog that could do a goddamn loop-de-loop on my neck, I would lose. Even if I won, I lost. This little sliver of health is by far the hardest, as she summons multiple tornadoes, just crazy slam attacks, and just straight up explodes. I don't even know what that last thing has to do with the wind, but it's cool. I used all of my potions, but I barely clutch up and managed to take her out with style. Sid meets back up with us to congratulate us on our victory, but Clive isn't done yet. Oh no, he straight up steals her magic before passing out, bringing this episode to an end. Of course, there's a lot more left in this game. For example, Fireball, Fireball, Fireball. But I don't have the time right now, so how about I make you a deal? If this video does well enough, I'll make another one. So make sure to leave a like and comment. And if you thought Final Fantasy was interesting, you won't believe what I have to say about Soul Hackers 2, the best, worst written game I have ever played by far.